What women want is what women want to hear. Good evening. I'm your host, Judy Goss, and thank you for tuning in. Here at What Women Want, we celebrate women of all ages live every Wednesday evening, and thank you for listening. We've had over 300,000 downloads within 18 months of airing our weekly show, and I am just so thrilled to keep supporting women and their amazing, inspirational stories that we learn so much from and have so fun listening to. So make sure to listen to our downloads on latalkradio.com or subscribe to iTunes. And also visit our brand new website, whatwomenwantradio.com. Okay, tonight our show is Your Health, What You Don't Want to Talk About. Why do we get so hesitant, especially the women? I hate to say it, but we tend to be really shy about our bodies, our hormones, tests we should be routinely taking, and asking questions most of all. Knowledge is power, ladies. I have two doctors who are coming on the show to talk about things you may not want to hear, but really should, from recurring yeast infections to constipation. Oh, you'll hear the gamut. Dr. Christina Sargent is a holistic healthcare professional, and Dr. Chen, who specializes in breast imaging. Two different perspectives from the healthcare industry who are going to make some common issues crystal clear. So listen, if you have questions for them, feel free to call us. And after we've brought the doctors on the line, the number is 323-203-0815. You're listening to Your Health, What You Don't Want to Talk About here on LA Talk Radio on What Women Want. So what I don't want to talk about is our weight ending up more in the middle as we get older. I know during Pilates class this morning, I had to dig my sweatpants out of my lower gut. I'm serious. I was doing those crunches and I was like, oh. So stillsassysister.com has the answer, I found out. 20% off for listeners with the code WhatWomenWant. They're workout clothes designed for women over 40 by a woman over 40. Still Sassy Sister fitness wear lifts that butt and smooths over and minimizes that tummy. You will love the fit of stillsassysister.com. So use the promo code WhatWomenWant and go and get yourself a 20% discount. Okay, a little bit about me, Judy Goss. My background comes from the fashion and publishing world, from international high fashion model with Ford New York to magazine editor for both Cosmopolitan and More magazines, and after that, a TV correspondent for Better TV. St. Martin's Press published author of the book Break Into Modeling for Under $20, and I'm the founder of an inspirational networking company called Over 40 Females with 20 chapters nationwide. I'm also the proud mama of 11-year-old twin girls, and you can catch me every so often on TV at NBC Connecticut, WABC, or Fox News in New York City. And to find more out about me, please go to judygoss.com or whatwomenwantradio.com. Okay, now we're going to talk about your health and what we all don't want to talk about. I don't know why I picked these subjects. Oh, yes, because I like teaching women how to better themselves. So if you feel like calling in and asking a question, you can be anonymous. You don't have to say who you are. You are more than welcome. The number again is 323-203-0815. Otherwise, we will most likely bring something up you won't want to hear but will want to listen to, if that makes sense. Okay, our first guest, Dr. Christina Sargent. Chris Sargent is a functional medicine authority and professional public speaker. Her podcast, The Gutsy Gal, focuses on the benefits of taking control of your health through her eat, drink, move, sleep, and think system of reclaiming your health. She's also the owner of Restore Healing Center for 24 years in Wheaton, Illinois, a private holistic clinic for functional medicine, acupuncture, massage, and chiropractic. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Sargent.
Thank you so much, Judy. It's great to be here. And I love this subject. You know that, don't you?
I do. And that is exactly why I thought of you right away. I'm like, we have to have a part 2 because that part 1 was so fun and juicy. It was so great. And reading your introduction, I just relaxed thinking about acupuncture, massage, and chiropractic medicine. Oh, my gosh. So what's that?
I know. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
all
it's awesome. And I wish I were closer to visit you all the time. So tell me about your inspiration in creating the Restore Healing Center.
So Restore Healing Center really started as a private practice, doing functional medicine and chiropractic 24 years ago here in Wheaton. And really my biggest inspiration is my mom. My mom... she's adorable and in perfect health and takes no medication, and I'm just going to say it, she will be 86 years old. She is, just so you have a picture of her, she is 5 foot tall and about 100 pounds.
Aww.
popped into my house the other day going, I just bought myself some new jeans, size 2. And I'm like, this is so not fair.
That's so awesome.
I know. She does Zumba. They have Zumba. It's called Zumba
Wow.
Gold. She does Zumba 3 times a week. Right? I know.
Yes.
And
So you obviously grew up with this type of you grew up with what she's teaching you, I guess, with the energy.
I
and
did.
health,
We grew up in a house. Yes, we did. We grew up in a house where we ate real food all the time. When
as opposed to fake food.
Yeah, as opposed to the crap that most people eat now.
Right.
And they call it food, but it really has nothing to do with food. It's actually the anti-food. So, my mom made everything, everything fresh, and we ate real food. That's the way we grew up. We didn't have Twinkies and Ho-Hos and Doritos and all the packaged stuff. We didn't grow up eating that stuff. So she's that inspiration, and I know that food is medicine, and we all know that food is medicine. So that's where that came from. And just Restore Healing Center, my Eat, Drink, Move, Sleep, Think, just encompasses a healthy lifestyle. When we eat right, we feel better. We have much more even energy all day long.
Yeah, that's for sure. When I eat right and I exercise, I feel so much better and don't drink.
Right? I know.
I just have so much more energy. So what's the most common question that you get in your practice, that you get asked?
Actually, yeah, the most common complaint that I have from women is, I feel like crap.
So I guess that would be, how can you help me? I feel like crap.
How can you help me? Right. I feel like crap, and my doctor is telling me everything is fine, and I just need to go on a antipsychotic medication, or I need counseling or something else, that it's all in my head. That's my most common complaint.
Is it feeling like crap? Is it tired? Is it hormonal?
Yes.
Just everything combined?
Yes. It's all of that. There's a component of digestive system, sometimes an autoimmune component, and a hormonal component, all put together.
So do you take a blood, like, is your first thing to take blood tests, or what do you do first?
Yeah, initially we run a custom panel that's very different from what your standard medical doctor does. It includes a lot more stuff, if you will. So that we can look fully at your thyroid, so that we can look fully at your hormonal system and your pituitary gland that controls all that stuff. So we can look at your inflammatory markers and really dig deeper for the root cause of the issues, as opposed to just, here's a pill, or we just need to take a body part out. And I just want to be really clear, because I know we have another doctor on the line. I'm not against traditional Western medicine at all. I've certainly needed traditional medicine, but when a patient isn't to the point where they actually are sick or have something wrong with them, then I think that lifestyle medicine needs to step in and be the go-to, if you will.
Sure.
First.
Well, we don't have a GP on the line, so that's okay. she has her own, specialty in mammography, which is definitely, a requirement these days. But I know when I got pregnant, I was pregnant with twins. No one told me about the constipation I would get, along with
that's
hemorrhoids.
Too bad.
Oh my gosh, they didn't tell me anything. I actually ended up being in the hospital for 2 months before they were even born, because they were trying to come out early. And they didn't tell me about all the other side effects either. The shaking when you go in, when you're going into labor. What are some of the main issues with women as they get older that you think people aren't talking about, that I have to discover when I'm nearing 50 now? I just got my first real drenching hot flash the other night. So what else do I have to look forward to here?
Well, hot flashes are not a requirement of menopause. I take patients through menopause relatively hot flash free. We can do it for anybody. So that's not a requirement. But yeah, hot flashes and shifting of hormones. I find that digestive issues sometimes crop up that have never cropped up before, constipation or diarrhea or both.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I know this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes it has to do with antibiotics that they took as a kid. Even if they've had a relatively healthy adult life, stuff that happened as a kid is now kind of cropping up, and the stressors of life, whether it's eat, drink, move, sleep, or think stresses, the stresses of life just have finally kind of reached a boiling point, and your body just goes, nope, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And it's a symptom of the stress.
Of the stress. So the stress of the physical stress, of the mental stress, of just everything combined, and then your hormones on
It's
top of it
all
all.
of this. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh.
That's exactly
That's so
right.
depressing.
I know.
So,
but all of it can be taken care of, though. It doesn't. You don't have to live with it.
Right.
You definitely don't have to live with it.
With nutrition and exercise and chiropractic. And okay, so I want everyone to know that they're listening to Your Health, what you don't want to talk about, here on LA Talk Radio. We're getting into it. Call us if you do want to talk or you have a question. 323-203-0815. Okay, did you know that 3D mammograms can detect up to 35% more invasive breast cancer than traditional mammography? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Well, the top doctors at Radiology in New York have been pioneers in this groundbreaking technology. Plus, they give your mammogram results the very same day. So call 1-877-RADS and schedule your 3D mammogram appointment today if you are in the New York area. We're going to have somebody from the California area coming on in just a minute. But Dr. Sargent, I just have another question before we do bring Dr. Chen on. Is it common for women to pee more than men at night? This is a big complaint that I get, with women. They say they don't sleep, and the reason they're not sleeping is because they're getting up to go to the bathroom. Is this like an old age thing, or what is it? I know since I have my twins, I have issues, but what about for other people?
So there are a couple issues there. So one of them is women tend to be better about drinking water, and maybe you're drinking way too much water later in the day or into the evening. So that might be part of the issue. Caffeine also causes your body to release more water, so you really want to keep your caffeine before noon. You don't want that diuretic water coming out overnight. You want to keep that early in the day, right?
Or iced tea for dinner, or soda, iced tea, all that for dinner, right?
Right. Soda and iced tea are certainly hidden places where caffeine likes to lurk. So
and I hate
really
to say it, but when I drink wine with dinner, man, am I getting up at night and not just going to the bathroom. It's bad.
Yeah, so wine actually interrupts all of our sleep patterns. We really want to keep that alcohol to happen before 7 o'clock if it's really impacting your sleep.
Oh, good.
You really
so I have a reason to drink early.
Just do without it.
I have a reason to drink early then.
Right. The other issue, and the biggest issue really, is pelvic floor issues. And the pelvic floor is part of our core muscle groups that hold our body up. And our pelvic floors do get weak, particularly if you have twins. Yeah, that's a bigger load on your pelvic floor. But women who don't exercise and sit a lot tend to have more issues as they get older. If you are pretty good about exercise, if you're doing exercise like a Pilates or yoga through your lifetime, you will probably have less pelvic floor issues than if you didn't. Because the Pilates and yoga really focus on pulling up through like inner thigh and through the pelvis and pelvic floor, and using the lower abdominal muscles that a lot of like gyms, and if you just lift weights, that kind of stuff, you miss out on all of that kind of very detailed muscle work. Ballet, those kind of things. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, the pelvic floor, there's actually an entire group of physical therapists across the country that just work with women in pelvic floor issues now.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I'd like to bring on our next doctor, Dr. June W. Chen. She is the medical director of breast radiology at BreastLink at the Breast Care and Imaging Center of Orange County, California. Having completed a fellowship in the subspecialty of breast imaging, excuse me, at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City in 1998, Dr. June Chen currently devotes her entire practice to breast imaging and diagnosis. Welcome to the show, Dr. Chen.
Thank you.
So if anyone is brave enough to call in, again, our lines are open. Just dial 323-203-0815. Your health, what you don't or maybe do want to talk about. Okay, Dr. Chen, tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you to specialize in breast imaging.
I completed a residency in New York City in diagnostic radiology, and I really was so interested in finding a field where I could be devoted to helping women. And breast cancer radiology really just caught my passion. And so I went on and did a subspecialty fellowship in learning all the ins and outs of diagnosing early breast cancer. So I became a breast cancer radiology specialist. And in the last over 10 years, I've chosen to devote my entire career to this. So I feel passionately about finding early breast cancers because that's really the key to cure. The earlier we can find a breast cancer, the higher the chances of a cure, and an improvement of quality of life, and fewer surgeries, less expensive surgeries, et cetera, et cetera.
Was there someone or something that happened that inspired you to particularly go into this, or just you were studying and kind of trying different things and looking at different things and just got a passion for this naturally?
Well, you know, I think that the idea of being able to help women has always been a strong desire of mine. My mother passed away from cancer when I was in high school. So
sorry to hear that.
The idea of being able to help women and diagnose cancer earlier, because that's our best way to fight cancer, early detection, really has been with me for a long time.
Sure. That's a great passion. That's a great reason. So some women have what's called dense breasts. And, you know, I know that there's conversations about this on the internet. I don't know if it's more women than not, but I know they do tell you, you know, at your mammogram appointment, if you have these, what is it exactly? And do most women have them?
So every woman's breast is made up of a combination of breast tissue and fat, and that's genetically determined. The more breast tissue we have, the denser the breast. So in the field of mammography and breast radiology, if we categorize a woman to have dense breasts, it means that the ratio of dense breast tissue compared to fat is more than 50%. So you have greater than 50% breast tissue as compared with fat. And why is that important? Because women with dense breasts have a higher risk of developing breast cancer. And even more importantly, breast cancers can be hidden on a mammogram if a woman has dense breasts. And the way you can visualize it is on a mammogram, breast tissue is white and fat is black. Breast cancers on a mammogram are white as well. So if you visualize it, the white breast cancer is much more likely to be hidden in a white breast tissue background rather than a black fat background. So it'd be like trying to find a snowman in a snowstorm.
Oh my goodness.
a white breast cancer and a background of white dense breast tissue. So that's why it's important for women to know, because if a woman knows that she has dense breast tissue, then she knows that a mammogram is not quite as sensitive for detecting of breast cancer and her type of breast tissue as compared with her friend or her colleague or her neighbor who may have more fat in her breasts.
Okay, I see.
And then it opens up a conversation with her doctor as to whether or not she should get an additional screening study for the early detection of breast cancer. Because there are other studies out there that one can get in addition to a mammogram. The mammogram is still, hands down, the best screening tool for early detection of breast cancer.
Okay.
So nothing replaces it, but it's a matter of, do I need something more than a mammogram? Because I've done breast tissue.
And other things, right?
Exactly. An ultrasound, breast ultrasound, a breast MRI. Do I need something in addition to it? A supplemental study.
What is one of the most commonly
asked
questions you get when you're with a patient?
Do I need to get a mammogram every year? Because I have no family history of breast cancer.
You're taking
and I don't
my
like
questions away. You're taking my script away from me. I was going to ask that too. That's so funny.
I hear that every day, day in and day out, and it's
because it's not like a pleasant thing. I mean, it's we got to go to the gynecologist, and now we got to go to the mammogram. I mean, it hurts every which way you do it.
Yeah, nobody likes to get a mammogram, and everybody likes to think, if I don't have any family history of breast cancer, maybe I could go every other year. Maybe I could go once every 3 years. No, you cannot. I hate to break the news. Irregardless of your family history, if you're over 40, according to the American College of Radiology and every other major medical organization that has breast cancer expertise, you need to get in and get your mammogram every year. And I'll tell you why. Because more than 75% of women diagnosed with breast cancer have no family history of breast cancer.
Oh, that was my next question. Really, that high percentage?
It's that high, and nobody really would believe that. Everybody thinks it has something to do with your...
I think I know why. Because one of the first questions the doctors ask, or on those sheets, is, who in your family has a history of breast cancer? And when you keep getting that question all the time, you think, well, mine doesn't, so I probably don't have, nearly as much of a chance. But that's a high number.
It's a very high number, and we ask the question about the family history because that's going to increase your chances even more. But no, the two biggest risk factors for developing breast cancer are simply being a woman and aging. And unfortunately, we're all going to age. So everybody's in the same boat. Everybody is at a high risk for breast cancer. In our country, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in her lifetime.
Oh,
so just think of all your girlfriends that you know. There's going to be quite a few of those that unfortunately will develop breast cancer. And it's so important to get that breast cancer diagnosed early. If you're going to develop it, which a lot of women do, unfortunately, let's find it early because that's your best chance of survival and cure.
Well, that sounds like it. Thank you. So, Dr. Sargent, you must have some strange stories. What are some of the main things women don't know but should? I mean, women must come in there to your office and tell you all kinds of strange things are happening to them, right?
Oh, yeah, every day. I'm always amazed at the human body, and I think even after 20 years, I feel like some of them have sort of blended together. I think that the women that have to run their entire life based on where the bathrooms are, whether they're urinating or they have a diarrhea/constipation issue or like irritable bowel, I mean, those women, my heart goes out to those women. They have to literally plan their entire way to work based on where are the bathrooms.
Now,
right?
Isn't that colitis though? Like, is that something that's common, or is that something that's like a disease?
It's more often than not, it is not a disease. More often than not, it's what we've coined a term called dysbiosis or leaky gut. That's sort of out there on the internet. In the literature, the actual published literature, it's called impaired intestinal permeability. Big words, but basically And irritable bowel syndrome is pretty well known too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's probably some of the most devastating stuff that comes in, and because that's just impacting their entire life and lifestyle. The other thing is the increased prevalence of autoimmune disorders like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, huge numbers of women, and autoimmune thyroid issues.
Oh my gosh!
too.
Well, I have 2 autoimmune disorders, so I know what
Right,
you're
and a
talking
lot
about.
of that stems from gut health, because our immune system is located right around our intestinal tract. And so the foods that we eat, the stress that we ingest day to day, comes in the form in through our digestive tract, and if our digestive system isn't up to snuff and isn't working very well, then that really impacts our immune system and can be the root cause, which is what functional medicine is all about, is root cause medicine. That can be the root cause of some of those autoimmune disorders.
Interesting,
all
because
connected.
my stomach is horrid ever since I was 22 years old. I can't eat red meat. I'm lactose intolerant. I'm this, I'm that. It's just like a mess.
Right.
So that might have. I wish you lived closer.
Well, here's the good news for you: is we now have a HIPAA-compliant, privacy-compliant video system, much like Skype or FaceTime, and I can see patients from anywhere. If you have a camera on your computer, I can see you.
Oh, wow. You don't want to see me right now, but maybe I will look into that. Really?
That's
interesting.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
I'm a mess. But I was wondering, what percentage does stress have to do with this? And I'm going to ask Dr. Chen that too in a minute, because I feel like a lot of our physical ailments are brought on by stress or made worse by stress. Even cancer, I don't know if that's a proven fact or not, but I'm going to start with you. What percentage do you think does stress have to do with our ailments?
Well, I think it's pretty clear in the literature that over 75% of doctor visits are due to, quote, stress. I look at stress from a little bit different perspective, because I think that when patients aren't eating real food, like fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, legumes, nuts, like real food, and they're eating a lot of fast food or pre-prepared food, I think that even organic, it doesn't matter. If it's a junk food, it's a junk food, right? I think that also causes a lot of stress in the body. So what we
there's
eat...
organic junk food? What?
So just because your corn chips are organic doesn't mean that they're full of goodness.
Oh, I didn't know there were like snacks like that were organic. When I think of organic, I just think of vegetables that are really clean and they don't use pesticides, and they have all kinds of organic stuff now, I guess, huh?
Right, exactly. So I look at stress not just from the mental and emotional perspective, but what else are we stressing our body out with, as far as food and alcohol and caffeine. And, we sit all day. Sitting is the new smoking, right? So not moving is as bad as smoking.
And that's so
Huge
big in our
impact.
culture today because of the computers and
Right.
what we're doing. And I think we're sitting so much more because we're on these electronics, and you can't kind of run around and do electronics.
Right, exactly.
So we're sitting a whole lot more. Dr. Chen, what about you? How much of a factor do you think stress is in what you do?
I think stress really affects our immune system's ability to fight disease, and that includes a cold, the common cold, flus, cancers. I think it plays a big role. I also think that stress also inhibits our ability to live a healthy lifestyle. When we're stressed, we tend not to eat as healthy as we might when we're not stressed. We may not exercise as much. We may drink more alcohol. We may not do the things that we normally do that keep us healthy. Mm-hmm. So I think it really affects our health in many, many different ways.
Yeah, I would think so. What is the one thing you think women should be concerned about in your area of work, but you don't think, I guess maybe like something that women think about, that women should be thinking about, but don't really seem to care about? Like, what's the biggest thing? I know you said that we should definitely get a mammography at least once a year and that type of thing, but what else is there that we should know?
So I think healthy living is very important. And I think the issue of alcohol we should be aware of. There is proven data that if a woman drinks 3 drinks a day, that she has a 15% higher risk for developing breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And for every additional glass of alcohol beyond that, it's another additional 10%. So we're raising our risk for breast cancer if we drink too much. So mm-hmm. drinking in moderation obviously is fine, but we just need to be aware of that. We need to get plenty of exercise. We need to get sunshine. Vitamin D is very important. There have been some studies that have shown a low vitamin D level can be associated with a higher risk of breast cancer. So I think, all of those are important.
Wait, repeat what you just said there, because I don't think people know that.
Oh, yeah. So there have been studies that have shown that a low vitamin D level has been associated with a higher risk of breast cancer.
So
really get out.
D levels.
Yeah, get out and get your sunshine. And if you're not able to because you live in the Midwest or on the East Coast, I've lived in those areas sometimes, right? That's where I trained, exactly. So I know during the cold months of the winter, sometimes you just can't get out or it's cloudy. But then you should be taking your vitamin D supplements.
Yeah.
So, it's important. That's something important to remember.
The radio show is actually based in LA, but I live in New York. So I am feeling it at this time of year. I see my pallor. I know that I'm vitamin D deficient. So I really try to kind of up the milk drinking. And, funny enough, and my doctor was really shocked when I told her this. If I drink a glass of milk a day, my vitamin D tests come out normal. And it's not even like I have to take a vitamin D. It's almost just like I have to make sure I keep up with the I guess the calcium intake or whatever it is. It's crazy that you can do. I guess you can just tweak such little things sometimes to your diet that you don't think about, right?
Right. And so I think that's why shows such as yours are so important in sort of reminding us women what's important. What do we have to do for ourselves? Because we also get so busy taking care of our families, dedicating ourselves to our careers. We're nurturers. And so sometimes it's hard to remember the things that we still need to do to make sure that we're healthy.
Tell us about BreastLink.
BreastLink is really unique. It's very special because we are all dedicated to the breast health field, and we are a multidisciplinary practice. And what that means is that if you come into our practice under one roof in the same building, you can get your mammogram, and you can get your results that day, and you can schedule an appointment to see. Yeah, and you know how we're all worried about the mammogram results, and especially if we happen to skip a year by accident. My ladies come in, they say, I was so busy, my husband was ill, I had to take care of my husband, or I've just been so busy moving, or whatever it is, and I forgot about myself, and I haven't been able to get a mammogram for the past 2 years, and then they're especially nervous. So it's really nice to be able to read the mammogram while they're waiting and give them their results. Mm-hmm. And what's really special about our practice is she can also, on that same day, make an appointment with a breast surgeon who is a specialist at doing the clinical breast exam, which is really important. A normal mammogram is wonderful, but we sort of talked about the dense breasts and how a cancer can be hidden on a mammogram in a dense breast. So the mammogram is the best study for early detection of breast cancer, but it's not 100%. Very few things in life are 100% perfect. And a mammogram is another a test that's not 100%. It's absolutely wonderful. It's the best one we have out there, but it's not 100%. So there will be some cancers, about 20 to 30% of cancers, which can't be seen on the mammogram because it's hidden by the dense breast tissue or because of the special way that it grows, that it just is not visible on the mammogram to us. And so those can be found on a self-breast examination, which I recommend every woman do every month, or they can be found by your doctor doing a breast examination, a clinical breast examination on you every year. Mm-hmm. And breast surgeons are specialists at doing that breast exam. And so if you want to make an appointment with our breast surgeon to have that, you can make it on the same day. And we also offer a genetic counselor. So let's say you want to know what your risk for developing breast cancer is because your aunt had developed breast cancer, or your grandmother, or let's say you got radiation to your chest when you were younger and you've kind of heard in the news, oh, that may increase my risk for breast cancer. How high is my risk? What do I need to do? Well, we have a dedicated medical specialist who will sit down with you and take a very detailed history of your family and of yourself and everything that's happened to you that could be related to developing breast cancer. And they'll sit down and then they will analyze that. And at the end, they can come up with a number even for you. Well, your risk for developing breast cancer in your lifetime is 20%.
Oh, I don't need that number.
Yeah,
I like
important.
Picking. Yeah, it is important, and I love picking subjects on this show that's like just a little bit out of my comfort zone. And so far, I'm vitamin D deficient. I have 2 immunological disorders. I have a lot of stuff going on that you guys are depressing me about. But I think that I see a lot of doctors, and I've had a lot of advice, and I feel like it's just so important to the women who have some of these things to really get it together and concentrate on a plan moving forward, because it is so important. And as we do get busy, I've got 11-year-old twins and I've got, 2 businesses and the radio show and everything else. We don't take time to slow down and think about ourselves physically, mentally, and, every part that we should. So I do really appreciate that you do that. And the Breast Link sounds terrific. It's in Orange County, right?
Yes, it is. And we have quite a few centers, and we're opening up our newest center in Newport Beach on April 1st.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Newport Beach. Okay, I'm going to be near there end of April.
So you'll have to stop by.
Yeah, for sure. So, Dr. Sargent, tell me about this. First of all, I want to know, I want to talk about Gutsy Gal and what that's about, but I want to know, first of all, what you would recommend to someone in general that you don't really know, like say you don't really know me. You don't know that I have all these issues. And just something, Dr. Sargent, that I can do in general to just kind of boost my health, like whether it's taking a multivitamin or it's, going to a chiropractor and getting a checkup or what is it? What's that kind of one thing that I should start with?
So what's the baseline? And for all the ladies out there with autoimmune disorders, the research for vitamin D is huge. And they're saying optimal numbers for vitamin D are someplace between 50 and 90. So you may want to check that vitamin D level again.
What do you mean?
Just for your own sake.
Oh, you want the women to check their vitamin D just in case, because a lot of people
just in case, because you really want it above that 30 mark, which is the low end of normal.
Okay. So we should be checking that, especially for we don't live in California.
Right, exactly. Because I live in Chicago, so we have no sun here either.
Exactly.
So a vitamin D supplement is definitely part of that baseline. A really good multivitamin, not something that you're going to take one a day, not like that. It's probably going to be something that's more like a 2 or 4 per day if it's a really good quality multivitamin. A quality fish oil product with EPA and DHA that's greater than 750 milligrams. So
you
really
think just
quality.
Anybody should take fish oil?
I think most people should take fish oil, because most of us, that's an omega-3 fatty acid Most of us get way too many omega-6s. They're very inflammatory. So this helps to counterbalance some of the inflammation that we eat all the time.
Oh, interesting. What about probiotics?
Probiotics are really important, particularly if you have some of that digestive upset stuff. They can be really, really beneficial, and there's a whole, oh my gosh, there's a deluge of information about probiotics coming out, and we have barely scratched the surface. We really think that in the next 10 years we'll be able to personalize probiotics.
Wow.
Because what you need and what I need are two very different things.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so tell us about the Gutsy Gal.
So the Gutsy Gal came about a couple years ago. I was sitting with some friends of mine, and I was like, I really feel like people don't understand what we do in functional medicine, and I just want to get that out there. Like, well, why don't you start a podcast? So we sort of did some brainstorming, and the Gutsy Gal came out of that. And you haven't known me, you don't know me very well, but I'm pretty outspoken, and I'm kind of not afraid to say anything, so it fits my personality. But we also talk about gut health a lot around here, so it fits that piece too. So the GutsyGal.com is my podcast, and you will be seeing a lot more of that in the not-too-distant future. I have a whole lineup ready to go for this year, and it just, it's ready to be recorded. So that's about to explode. And then my regular website for Restore Healing Center is RESTORYOU, restoreyou.com. So that's where I can be found. And like I was telling you, we can see patients from anywhere. So
that is terrific.
Fun.
So if anybody wants to see you, well, I guess see you, they would be on Skype, right? They can go to restoreyou.com and figure out how to get a hold of you.
My phone number's on there. You can click to make an appointment, and we'll get back with you within 24 hours.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the Gutsy Gal and your healing center that's been around for 24 years. You have such great advice, and I think it's, for me, it's such a combination of physical and mental and everything that we put into our bodies and what we do. And it's, it's really important to kind of get a whole plan and see what's going on, because it does affect us in so many different ways. It's funny because it's not funny, but I've seen people, my husband was an example, and I know he's probably not listening, so I'm going to say this. He goes through phases. He's in retail. So he goes through waves where, it's really busy and then it's not really busy. It's really busy and it's not really busy. And every time he has twice a year when it's really dead, which is January and July. And he goes through physical ailments, and it's like clockwork because he's stressed about the drop in business,
Right.
and he gets almost the same. And by the way, he hasn't gotten. He used to get a respiratory infection every 6 months. Every time he went through this, it would start with a cold, and then would go to cough, and then would go down to his chest. Funny enough, I started him on probiotics. Before this season, and knock on wood, he didn't get it this time, which is interesting. But it's just, it's terrible how stress can really take a toll. And I urge listeners, besides going and seeing your doctors, to really get that mental shift also with the meditating and the quieting down and really taking a step back and looking at your life as a whole. Dr. Chen, I would like to know how people can get a hold of you also in the California area, and especially Newport Beach. You're going to have a big, kind of coming out party?
Yes, I think we will.
Well, that's just, isn't that what people do?
Yes. And the practice that we're opening in Newport Beach is it's also affiliated with Finesse Plastic Surgery. So we're going to have that on site as well. So it's going to be really special. We really want to remind women you need to take care of your health inside and out, and it's important to get your screening mammogram every year. But if you also want to pamper yourself when you come in for your mammogram, because nobody likes to get their mammogram, you could schedule a same-day Botox or a Restylane or some sort of cosmetic appointment that's going to make you feel good. We just want to address all the needs of our women.
I like the combination.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's great.
And so if you would like to get a hold of me, we have a website, breastlink.com, and all our sites are there. Our newest one will be Newport Beach, as I said. We have one in Orange, we have one in Laguna Hills, and we have one in Garden Grove, in Temecula, so quite a few.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to the both of you. I admire you both for what you're doing for women, and how you're supporting them and really healing them and taking an active stance in bettering their health. So that's just awesome. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you
for having me.
Absolutely. And everyone else, please join us next week for The Journey of a Bra Boss with Janet Krause, the CEO of Peach Company, a company that is revolutionizing the way you shop for lingerie, believe it or not, in your house, and custom lingerie. No, really, it's a great story. You will love how Janet rose up through the ranks after business school and her stories that she has to tell. So inspirational. Thank you all for listening, and good night.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.